Good morning. It is Saturday morning, the 27th at 7:21 a.m. and it's a beautiful day. We are walking just about 5 miles today into Kennedy Meadows. Well, 5 or 6 miles to get to the turnoff, the junction, and then another mile or two from there. But not a bad day, and we just started camp back where those trees are. Over yonder is where I was camping, and this is the valley. So we have done most of our up for now. As soon as we leave Kennedy Meadows, that changes. But after Walker Pass, we had a few big ups and a few big downs, and now we're in a valley, and I think we're just kind of skirting through this valley. Not a ton of up, a ton of down, mostly flat, just a couple bumps here and there between here and Kennedy Meadows. So that's really exciting. So we made a plan this morning that we would all wake up and be on trail around 7 o'clock, plus or minus 30 minutes. That way we could all meet up at the junction off to Kennedy Meadows and kind of go in this group and have fun. I put my tarp up last night because it was threatening to rain in the afternoon, and then there was no issue with rain at all. But I am glad that I did, because there was a bit of condensation last night. My sleeping bag barely got wet at all, though, because having the tarp up above it, that takes the vast majority of the condensation there. So dried that out a little bit this morning, not a ton because the sun's just peeking up, but I just squeegeed it off with my dishcloth, my Swedish dishcloth. And we've got all day at Kennedy Meadows to dry everything out, so no worries there. Still not sure exactly where we're gonna stay. There are a couple of options. You can stay out at the general store for free, but it's $4 for shower, $4 for laundry, which isn't bad. Or you can stay at Grumpy Bear's, $10 camp, free laundry and free showers. So for a $2 difference, I'm thinking wherever it looks better is where we go. But if we do the general store, because we're probably going to stay at least 2 nights. We're going to have a rest day today, a full 0 tomorrow, and then not sure when we're leaving after that. I'm guessing, based on conversations and how everybody's feeling, that we're only planning on taking 1 0, especially since today is going to be a very low Nero. But I ain't swearing to nothing. But what I do know is that my crampons are waiting for me. Some other people have some stuff waiting for them. I got about 3 different gear things I need to patch up. I've been really bad as a hiker at patching that stuff up as I go. I just noticed this morning, I think it was from where I dried it out yesterday, about a finger-sized hole in the mesh on my bivvy. So that's gonna need some repair tape. I've had for a while, and I've actually let it ride because we're in the desert. There's not a lot of wet spots, and it's real small, but there's a little hole in my dry bag. So before going in the Sierras, 10 out of 10, that's gonna need to be fixed. It's actually kind of nice right now, because when I squeeze the air out of my down, it lets it out a little faster because there's 2 holes instead of 1, and they're on opposite sides. So it's been really convenient for that. But the downside is that there's a hole in my dry bag, which means it's not a dry bag, it's a mostly not wet bag, but not dry. So we'll fix that. And I've got another little ditty bag that's supposed to be a dry bag, has a couple little holes in it. Honestly, that one was my fault. I was trying to shove that with too much stuff in it. I mean, they're all probably my fault, but this one I know is my fault. I tried to stuff it in the old backpack that I had in the cup holder, the water bottle pocket on the side, with a 1.5 liter water bottle with too much stuff in the stuff sack, and there was a pointy corner and I got a couple little holes from that. So got to decide if I'm going to patch that, or for my electronics I'm just going to keep a Ziploc bag nearby. But that's part of the name of the game of going through areas like that, is that, you know, we're going to be doing river crossings. There's going to be potential for bags getting wet and stuff like that. You know, some of the river crossings, it's entirely possible that we'll find a place that's moving slowly enough that the best way, safest way to ford the river is to swim across. I'm not excited about that. Not in 34-degree glacier melt or snow melt rivers, but you know, you do what you got to do to get where you got to get. So we'll see. Speaking of river crossings, I think I got a little one up here that I'm just able to start to hear, probably about another quarter mile off. But again, if my feet got to get wet, we're just going to Kennedy Meadows and then we can dry everything else off. So I think that's about it for an update. Just happy, excited, ready to get to Kennedy Meadows, and excited but also scared as hell of the Sierras and what that's going to bring. So a lot of stuff going on, but overall it's a beautiful day. Everything's good. So that's it for now. One more last look at our little valley that we're going through. We got a mountains 365 degrees. That's pretty cool. So all right, till next time. So I know I just did my update video, but I got down to this river, and so good news, bad news situation. Good news is we don't have to cross it. Bad news is that's the trail right there that comes down there, and that's water. That's where the trail is supposed to be, but this is apparently the alternate where I'm standing right now, because that's all trail. So I'm doing a rock scramble to stay dry right now. Not sure if I'll stay dry or not, but I got a feeling that that's a lot of what we're going to be seeing in the Sierras, man. Everything way higher than it's used to being. That's a lot of snow that's melting. Here we go, back on dry land. My feet are dry, so that's good news. That's where it ends, so not so bad. It really wasn't far at all, but this is dry trail again. So not so bad there. One thing I did want to talk about briefly is swapping from one pack to another. Definitely a little bit of learning pains, I'll call it, figuring out what goes where. But now that I've got my system mostly dialed in after a couple of days with this pack, one, I'm really glad that I did that the last couple of days where it's been a little bit more chill. Not pushing for as many miles as we can get in the snow, versus if I'd have gotten the packet in the Sierras, I would have been pissed off, tearing everything down, throwing it in my bag in the morning, trying to get out and not having a spot for everything and knowing where everything is. So really glad about that. Another thing is I really like these side pockets. I know I've got like 300 miles or so, a few hundred anyways, on this Exos, and I was definitely using the side pockets not to their full advantage before this. So if you look right here, this really pulls out real wide. So you can see I got my Mio in there, I got a water bottle back behind, I got my daily snacks right here, I got my 700 milliliter water right here, got my 1.5 liter over there with the filter on top of it, and a little ditty bag with a couple odds and ends that I might need throughout the day over there. It's got a carabiner on it. So I can just sling that thing outside and let it dangle if I need to grab something behind it. It's, I was really worried that I was gonna miss the bottom pocket of my old backpack, because I had a really nice setup for that. That's where I would keep all my snacks. I had a little corner cutaway so I could shove my wrappers down there and just worry about those later. I would only refill it. It could hold enough that I could only refill it like once a day at lunch, and it would hold enough snacks for half a day. It was pretty baller, but I'm digging this setup. So I've got all of my daily food, and then I've got to split out so that I've got some stuff in the back of the pack, but like the back pocket where you don't have to get into the main compartment to get to it. And then same kind of deal with the front pockets, just side, easy access. I just put the trash wrappers in there, swap that out at lunch or whenever I stop, and refresh my snacks. So I like systems. I like systems that involve eating food without much effort. That is like primary objective. Take the backpack off as little as possible. Ideally only at lunch and at camp. So, well, it looks like I'm gonna do just a little bit more rocks today, but not much. That's the trail, but there's plenty of room up there to get up and over. But I think that's it for now. Okay, bye.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Good morning. It is Monday the 29th, 9:10 a.m. I am only, I think, a mile and a half into the day of miles that count. There was about a 3/4 mile road walk to get back to the trail from Kennedy Meadows, but we decided to stay for breakfast and get a little bit of a later start, which I had mixed feelings about, but 3 of the 4 other members in the group wanted to do that, and I can see the benefit. It's the only downside was we didn't get on trail until 8:30, so but it's all good. We are heading into the Sierras now, so just kind of thinking about progress. I think it took me 39 days, 30, that sounds right, to get to Kennedy Meadows. So that's pretty solid. Average last year was 44 days. You know, it's not a contest or a race or anything like that, but I did want to be a little bit quicker than average. Just timing wise, it makes a little bit more sense because I know the Sierras are going to be a little bit slower going. If this was a normal year, I'd probably push longer miles, longer days, because you have more time going through dry versus the snow. This year there's going to be a lot of snow and it's going to get mushy early on. So instead of resupplying originally, my tentative plan before this winter was crazy was to make it all the way to Bishop, which is like 130 miles in, plus Mount Whitney. So that's an extra day right there. Mount Whitney is not on the trail, but it's 8 miles out, 8 miles back. And it's the highest peak in the lower 48. So most people who do the trail go there, and we'll be trying as well. That should be on Thursday, if all goes according to plan, which is a big if. But I've got 7 days of food, which I can stretch to 8 if need be. But our goal is 6. It'll more than likely be 7. It just depends on how fast we go. It could be 8. I doubt it. If I had to bet, I would say we'll be off in 7, but things that aren't planned sometimes happen. So we got enough food that we can stretch it into 8 days if necessary. So, yeah, so the past couple of days have been fantastic. We got into Kennedy Meadows early. The walk-in was great. Hung out most of the day and went over to Grumpy Bears, which is a couple miles away, picked up packages, ate some food, came back, and then most of our chores were yesterday. Laundry, buying my resupply, showering, all of those things. But it was really cool hanging out. It was actually a bit strange. I was expecting to see a lot of hikers that I've passed recently rolling in after me. I'm not the fastest person on trail. Our group isn't the fastest group on trail, but we are faster than average. So we're passing more people than people pass us. And there were a couple of people there that we've met when we got there that were just a little ahead of us. But the people coming in behind us, there were a couple exceptions. There was Raven, who used to be part of our group. We split up back at Cajun Pass. He did a road walk and we did a trail walk. He came in last night, which was really cool to see him, as well as a guy that I rode the Southern Terminus shuttle bus with on day one to get out to Campo, which that's kind of an interesting concept. I'm sure he's been just barely behind me this entire time, but the only 3 times I've seen him is day one, and then like a week and a half in Julian, and now today. So just kind of interesting how those things go. He walked in literally this morning as we were eating breakfast, so I didn't get much time to talk to him. No idea if he's planning on continuing through or flipping up. I was kind of surprised how many people were going all the way to Kennedy Meadows and then flipping somewhere. It was just kind of unexpected because it's a little bit harder to get in and out of Kennedy Meadows than it is somewhere like, say, Walker Pass. What's an extra 50 miles when you're already skipping several hundred? But I don't know. Maybe some people just want to officially be done with the desert, which makes sense. Kennedy Meadows is a really big milestone. Kind of rambling a bit now, but just a little bit update on today. What the plan is. There is good camping about 20 to 22 miles in, and then another spot I think about 24 miles in. My pack's pretty heavy. I got my air can back there. I've got 7 days of food. I've got crampons. I've got ice axe. I've got micro spikes. Oh, I've got, I'm not sure if you can see it, my little ground sheet. Not ground sheet. Closed cell phone mat back there. Swapped that out for my thin light. Had my one of my luxury items, and it just got replaced with a luxury item that does the same thing but is twice as heavy. I didn't realize that the R value, so the resistant to thermal change, that my sleeping pad has was only 2.9. To give you some reference, you probably don't want to sleep on snow unless you're in the mid to upper 4s or higher. So 2.9 was not going to get the job done going into the Sierras. So I got that thing that should add 2, so I should be sitting at 4.9 now, which should be much more comfortable if we have to sleep on top of snow. So that's good. And the thin light that I had, it's an 1/8 inch closed cell foam pad. It was getting torn up pretty good. It's just thin, lightweight material, and it gets snagged up as you go through bushes and around blowdowns and stuff like that. So hopefully this one holds up a little better, makes it for the rest of the trail. I would have had to replace the other one at some point, and hopefully this one does the trick for me. And I'm pretty excited also about having something a little bit thicker to hang out on at like lunch break and stuff like that. So that's about it. We've got a lot of incline today, not a lot of decline, or climbing up into the Sierras, but that won't start for another couple miles. So heavy packs and a lot of up. I guess we're gonna find out how in shape my legs are today. So I think that's all I got. Not sure how many videos I'll be able to do once we're in the snow. Kind of depends on how constantly we're in the snow. I might do just a real quick short video at the end of the night while at camp or something like that. I'm not sure. I'll figure it out, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're not daily, if it's just a video every couple or third day, something like that. I would like to continue once a day. I like that, and that's my plan once I get out of the Sierras, but just time and availability to spend time looking at a camera, because I'm not going to be able to do it near as much while walking. So, all right, that's it. Until next time.